For today's video, we're going to talk about leather. Now you might want to ask me, hey Chris, what kind of leather should I get on my sofa? And the answer is, well, it kind of depends, because there are a lot of different types of leathers out there. They're made a few different ways, and what's going to be right for you is going to depend on a number of factors. First and foremost, how it's going to be used, what level of durability and practicality you need out of it, and then what kind of look you want. So let's talk about leather, big picture. There's a lot of different types of leathers out there. There's also a lot of misinformation about what's appropriate, what's correct. First and foremost, most leathers are going to be divided into one of two categories: aniline and semi-aniline. That is actually what matters the most. I know there's a lot of other things, full grain and top grain, blah, blah, blah. For upholstery leather, aniline and semi-aniline. What's the difference? With aniline, it's dyed using a translucent dye. So the leather is cleaned up a little bit on the top, not a whole lot of preparation goes into it. You're using premium leather hides, the very finest grade. So they're usually coming from Europe, where they have really clean hides, no brands, no mosquito bites, no barbed wire, clean hides. They then apply a dye to that. That dye is, like I said, translucent, which means you see through the dye to the cowhide beneath, which does mean you get things like color variation. You see a lot of natural fat wrinkles, healed scars, variation color-wise with how the dye takes to the hide. So every hide is going to have a little bit of color variation. That's what gives you that classic, iconic, varied coloring, which a lot of people are going for. There are a few ways of then finishing out that aniline leather. The way it's finished kind of gives it different types of feel, different types of sheen. So I've got two examples for you. So this, I'm going to show you 4 brown leathers. I know it's stupid, but it makes a difference. So this is a leather it's an aniline leather, but it has sort of a velvety finish to it. It's really soft. It's almost a brushed feel to it. Not a lot of sheen off of this. Now, by contrast, this is one that has more of an oily, waxy finish. See how much shine there is? Same concept, same kind of leather, but it is going to exhibit a lot of sheen. It also is going to exhibit what's called pull-ups. I'm going to push my thumb through. See how that color is coming through? That lighter brown is coming. So when you tuft a leather like this, or work with a leather like this, you're going to get color variation as it gets stretched and tooled. Great. Problems with those leathers. Well, number one, it's not the most durable thing. If leather is durable, it's tough, but it can be scratched, scuffed, stained, it can fade. So my fingernails are not long, but I'm gonna mark my fingernail right there. And you see that? You see a little bit of marking there? Here you go. See that mark? Now, those marks are usually in the top layer, which is kind of a waxy coating. It usually will buff right back out. You can also condition it to take that out. So it's not the end of the world. And honestly, this kind of leather gets better with age and patina. So it's not a bad thing, but it is more prone to staining and damage. And so if you've got like a chaotic toddler running around your house, may not be your best bet. So what do you do if you have that kind of environment? Well, then you look towards semi-aniline leathers. Semi-aniline leathers come in, again, a variety of different types of finishes, but the difference, remember I said aniline leather is a translucent dye. Semi-aniline leather is, the leather's cleaned up a little bit more aggressively, and then it has an opaque pigment. So think of like aniline is like stain on wood. Okay, got that? You can see the wood grain. Semi-aniline is like paint on wood. It is opaque. Now, traditional straightforward semi-aniline leathers are going to look like this, where see how uniform it is? It's exactly the same color all the way across it. There's also a very consistent grain. That grain is often actually an applied texture. So they'll actually sand down the leather, and then they'll do this big steel roller over it to apply a natural texture. It's very convincing. You wouldn't know. Honestly, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't have any idea. But that's how they're doing it. Okay, so that's semi-aniline. Semi-aniline is a little bit better for performance. The reason being, it's a more stable type of coloring. It is going to be more resistant to fade. It's going to be more resistant to moisture, stains, things like that. If you really want to go beyond that, then you look at what's called a protected leather. Now, this is a protected leather that has a few party tricks associated with it. Now, again, pretty similar, but see how this one has more variation to it? This is a trick. So think of it like a faux finish. So after they apply that single color pigment to the leather, they go back and hand apply layers of dye on top of that. You get a little bit of variation in coloring, a little bit of texture. They actually kind of recreate the look of fat wrinkles and things. So it's a very convincing, natural looking leather, but stain protection, fade protection, moisture protection, scratch protection. So if I run my fingernail on this, you don't see anything. Let me get my keys. Let me prove this for you. If I can find my car keys. Here we go. All right, car keys, leather, nightmare scenario. You don't see anything. So, is it absolutely 100% impervious to any sort of damage? No, you can damage anything. If you have a really aggressive toddler or a really aggressive dog or a really stupid husband, you can damage anything. However, for most people, this is going to be your best bet for practicality, durability, and consistency over the long haul. So lots of different leathers. They're all the right choice for someone, which is why we have so many options. If you're confused, give us a call. Happy to guide you into the right direction.